coming up next, we're going to have another battle for potential relegation ownership here. ETC at the very bottom of Division A, Purple in the middle of Division A. And both players going to start off with a Priest Protect and a Warrior ban from ETC and a Druid ban from Purple. Now, ETC has got some really interesting stuff going into the previous weeks. This week, he seems like he's playing a little bit more standard. He's got the Combo Priest, Malagos Druid, OTK Paladin, Quest Shaman. No Warrior in his lineup, TJ.
No Warrior in his lineup. Warrior, especially with how you can tech it to be good against Priest, like Monsanto was saying, and also be good against occasionally like Quest Druid, makes sense. But if you consider the fact that Priest is hard to beat, period, and a lot of the players are moving towards Malagos Druid, and still a lot of players in Americas are leaning on the Shaman as a good deck, Warrior starts to become less and less appealing. Even a lot of players went to Bomb Warrior this week because of how combo-oriented the meta has been. Bomb Warrior with all these decks that are trying to draw their entire deck, Bomb Warrior becomes more and more appealing because you're guaranteed bomb damage at some point in the game.
Yeah, Bomb Warrior beats the OTK Paladins.
With honor.
Yeah. Beats the Druids that try to draw to fatigue.
Yeah.
Also messes up with Elise and Bran and Reno and Finley.
It has a lot worse matchup against Priest, though. But if you're bringing lineup which you are targeting a lot of other decks in the metagame and you're not trying to target Priest, you can kind of, you know, quote-unquote concede the Priest matchup if your opponent leaves it up, ban it when you can, and try and corner the other decks in the metagame. Maybe leaving Warrior up or maybe not putting Warrior in your lineup could be a viable strategy. But it's bold, Dan. It's real bold.
Injured?
It's real bold, and things have been on a downward spiral for ETC this season. He is the #1 candidate to be relegated from Division A, and it's been an emotional turmoil, to say the least, when you watch ETC's play, because it seems like he's feeling the stress very visibly. Hopefully everything can be reined in for this game, as we want it to be a competitive division. We do know there's going to be a relegated spot no matter what happens. But we want all the players to be playing at their best, and it feels like that hasn't happened this season from ETC.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like in the past couple of weeks, I think ETC's play has been around the level of expectation. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but the previous weeks where he's been also losing, where he played poorly, that's where it's the pain point. Because if you start playing well, that doesn't guarantee that you'll start winning.
No.
That's why it's important that you try to play well as often as you can, because sometimes you're gonna play well and lose. That's just what happens.
Yep.
So if you're playing badly and you're losing, then you fix it and you start losing, and you still lose anyways. That's demoralizing at that point. TJ.
Yeah, if you keep playing well, variance is going to catch up with you. Right. If you keep playing well every week, you're going to start getting wins. I think Amnesiac is a good testament to that. I think Amnesiac's been playing well pretty much the whole season and wasn't rewarded for it at the beginning, but has started to be rewarded for it at the end. Well, I'll say ETC under a lot of pressure right now. Does have a timeout to try and buy some time, but I mean, it's turn 3, and timeout is not really panning out into anything.
You can go for a Prismatic Lens to try and pick up a really cheap form of removal, so you could go for a Shrink Ray or an Equality to reduce to 1 or 2 mana. I think I like that idea because I think you need a dramatic board swing to control everything. Plus, anything that you develop doesn't exactly guarantee that you're going to have a good follow-up on next turn. Let's say you coin Truce for Champion. Even if you consecrate Truce for Champion next turn, you're still taking a lot of damage. You're still not clearing.
I wonder.
So I think I like a Prismatic Lens. Timeout here feels a little premature. So the reason why I think the timeout here is valuable is because obviously ET wants to conserve all this life, and he wants to set up a bigger board. But now if you're playing Prismatic Lens on the following turn, you're still kind of stuck in the same spot.
That's true.
Yeah, so now, well, you know, by was going to say, by ETC, by Purple weakening his own board, he makes Consecration a little better, but the two biggest threats still stay alive, which is Northshire Cleric and the Tolvir.
I wonder.
In this position, I would have liked ETC a big. Okay, well, I drew the cards with the Prismatic Lens. Now I time out. But now the damage is going to really hurt because of. Oh, he swapped the Shrink Ray. Result-oriented thinking, of course. But it's hard to ignore that. Oh, this is starting to really snowball way out of control, TJ.
Now, the thing is how much Purple is going to respect that Prismatic Lens. Because otherwise, ETC wouldn't have too many options for removal. You'd have Wild Pyromancer equality. Oh my gosh. Is he going for it? Yep.
I mean, just draw cards. I don't see why not.
This is a full hand.
There's very few cards that if you burn, when you draw 5 cards, when you draw through almost 2/3 of your deck by turn 5, that you're thinking, you know what? I lose the game because I drew too many cards. There's no card in Priest I feel like is the case. The closest you can make that assumption to would be a Divine Spirit, I'd say. But you already have 2 Inner Fires. You don't need Bonsomdi. You don't need Amet, although Amet's really nice. This is a board clear for ETC. No ways about it.
Is there something fancy he can do here, though, that doesn't use Shrink Ray? He could Wild Pyromancer subdue Crystology, which would leave the Northshire Cleric on board.
You can...
I wonder.
Because he has Shrink Ray Consecration next turn to deal with the next wave. So if you can deal with the board without using the Shrink Ray, you should. So Wild Pyromancer subdue Crystology, you subdue the injured Tolvir.
You know, I think you were onto something.
Because you live in Northshire Cleric, but he already has a full hand. So like,
Right,
you're not worried about him
Well,
drawing more cards.
The health in the Northshire Cleric is what's concerning. Because he's at 11 health, so Cleric just kills him with the Inner Fire combo.
That's true.
I wonder if
Well,
there's
the Cleric
a
would have
guarantee.
been at 2 health.
I don't think there's a guarantee on what he would have drawn, right? With the Crystology.
No. Well, the Cleric would have been at 2 health, and he'd already used Circle, so he'd have to have Heal, Beaming Sidekick, Divine Spirit, Inner Fire.
I see a dark.
I don't know. It was just a thought.
Hey,
I feel like you have to be greedy at least 1 turn.
in the light's name.
Yeah, you're in a pretty disadvantaged state, to say the least.
Like he would not have died here if he had went for that play, and he'd have a removal for this board. I mean, he could still like time out and Acolyte of Pain here to try and like draw deeper into his deck and find equality. But now that Shrink Ray's gone, and that Shrink Ray offered him so much flexibility.
Yeah, this is a tough spot because Purple has 2 threats that can kill him. Well, 3 threats because of the Inner Fire, but the Amet and the Light Warden are both immediate removals, and he only has 1 subdue.
I wonder.
I think I don't know.
So another alternative we can do is try to invest a bunch of mana into the Shirvallah turn next turn. So the most you can spend is 7, which would make Shirvallah cost 6 next turn. That's not even enough.
Let me.
Because you don't have enough to build the bank of
Move
Shirvallah.
quickly.
This is looking really bad for ETC. I think he has to go for card draw and hope that he draws like exactly equality next turn. So he attacks.
Speak to me.
Like, the timeout here is important because the timeout prevents him from dying. But by using coin, it means he can't equality consecrate. So he's drawing an extra card here. Doesn't get off the Elven Archer or Crystology. That's a wasted coin.
And now even if he picks up equality, he can't use it.
Oh, no. You gotta go faster. That's been a theme that's been ringing true throughout all of Grandmasters, not even just for a specific region, not for a specific player. This is for a multitude of people here.
And that was his last timeout.
Right. And if he draws another card here and the next card's a quality, I think that'd just be too much. I don't even want to see the next card for ETC's sake.
Well, he can eliminate the Light Warden here with Subdue. And if he dodges Inner Fire,
Let me think.
since Purple does not play a Topsy-Turvy, if he dodges an Inner Fire, he's alive. Maybe can follow that up into a quality Consecration and then try and work towards Shirvala. So Subdue Elven Archer
I hope you like my invention.
can fit in the Novice Engineer. And that's it. Crystology picks up. It does pick up
Blood Mage Thanos.
Blood Mage Thanos and Crystal Smith Kangor. So it looks like Crystology, Subdue, Elven Archer. Maybe not even Elven Archer because the light won't be a 1. No, you need to.
I think it is important to Crystology to get the mana out of the way and also to draw the cards.
Yeah. So now Purple doesn't have lethal. He needs to dodge an Inner Fire. And that's an Inner Fire.
Yeah, that's the punish. Purple's going to wrap up game number 1 with the Priest versus the Paladin. ETC, again, a little bit unrefined around the corners. I don't know if it would have made the difference that he needed to get across the hump of this game number 1. But it leaves up questions of what if. You know, you don't know if that's the case.
Yeah.
And so, you know, one of the most important things is if you can't win, at least make sure that you're playing your best. Otherwise, you're going to be unfocused for game number 2. So ETC is going to have a little bit to think about as we go to our break for this series. When we come back, we're going to get into game number 2 between Purple and ETC. We'll be right back.
Legends say powerful treasures are hidden everywhere here in Aldum.
If we hope to defeat Rafam, we'll need as many as we can get. He's already unleashed the ancient plague lords and countless monsters. Keep them distracted, Reno.
Not a problem. This plan is totally gonna work. Ain't that right, Finley?
Oh, yes! I have them right where I want them.
There is an artifact here. The name is...
The scales of justice. Oh, it must be really fancy.
only to be used in a time of great peril. Yes, I think this qualifies.
Hey, look, Finley. You've lured one of the Plague Lords.
Take this, fiend!
In the face! Yeah! Hey, guys, get that treasure. We've got a Plague Lord to destroy.
Yes, please, hurry!
Not to worry, Finley. We just push this thing right here.
No, that's a trap! Watch out!
It's all good. I am phonily timed.
Gracious me!
What we actually need to do is press this. And there.
A
Fish.
No! It's the scales of justice!
Oh. Ah, who wants to use it first?
Oh, I do. Me. On second thoughts, maybe give it to Finley.
All you had to do was hold a rope.
Here we go, blaming the tall, ruggedly handsome guy again.
My name is Eddie Liu, formerly Sehun628. Now it's just Eddie playing. My last year I had a pretty successful year, especially since I only played this game for 2 years. I won Dreamhack Atlanta. It's only a tour stall, but it meant a lot to me, especially since I was grinding really, really hard for a win. When I first knew that, like I received the email that I got into Grandmaster, I was really excited. I checked my email at like 10:30, and I was like hyped. I was like, oh my god, is this actually real? I think I'm a very consistent player. I think the X factor for myself is that I hate playing aggro decks, I would say. I'm a very control/anti-control player. I rather outgrind my opponent in resources. I constantly judge myself, oh, is this right? Is what I'm doing correct? And it means a lot. It means a lot to me that if other people are agreeing what I do and what I think. At this point, I just want to make Worlds. I had a pretty good record in tour stop. I think I was at least top 10, if not top 5. I think I was lucky. I think this group is the easier group, and I think I have a good chance getting out of groups.
Purple up 1-0 over a struggling ETC. The story of the season has resulted in a Mogushan Warden. It's a 1-7 record here for ETC as he goes into his 9th game, potentially going to a very poor tournament medic at a 1-8 score.
The only
Nobody
1-8
would want
minion,
that.
the only 1-8 minion natural stats to ever exist, right? Tournament medic.
Possibly.
What was it? Inspire, heal for 3? Yeah, I think it was 3. I don't remember. Inspire.
Yeah, you know.
Don't you miss that? The Murloc Knight?
No, I don't. Oh, you mean just the Murloc Knight? Yeah, Murloc Knight was sweet, but Inspire's a mechanic. I'm totally cool with it not being around. But I mean, if you think about it,
Totally cool.
if you think about it, Inspire really does exist in the form of the Quest Shaman, because the more you press it, better the cards get. Inspire basically wants you to hero power a lot to fill out your mana curve.
Yeah, in a weird way, sure. I will give you that. Going into game 2 here, Purple on the Druid. It is a Malagos Druid. The old goose. And ETC on the Priest. Good matchup for ETC.
Whew. Although, I mean, ETC did throw away some of the ways that you beat Druid, which is a very fast early game Divine Spirit Inner Fire. That being said, great opening hand here for ETC. However, Northshire Cleric on 1 without any protection. TJ, that's why people are playing Pounces and Wraths, to be able to kill it.
Is someone injured?
And if I'm purple, there's only one thing on my mind. I'm killing that Northshire Cleric.
He left it so vulnerable.
Oh.
He even can get quest progress.
Yeah, by killing it with Moonfire. That's not a good start here for ETC. And to be honest, I think I even like the idea of Light Warden. I do know that it is vulnerable to the Pounce.
In the light's name.
He had a plan, though. He had a plan.
Of course.
Ooh, Druid Lodi.
My goodness. So Purple can rush this down with the 4-2.
He can.
That's really hard to turn down. That is very, very hard to turn down.
It delays quest, but come on. That's so juicy.
If you think about it, I mean, Purple's going to finish his quest.
Right on time for Nourish.
Right on time. Well, not really right on time. Because now, by delaying, he goes 2 out of 4 on turn 4, 3 out of 4 on turn 5, and 4 out of 4 after turn 6, which means that his Nourish isn't on time anymore.
It's still right on time for Nourish. Any time is right on time for Nourish.
Just the meme where the guy's pointing at the clock and every single hand.
It's Nourish time somewhere.
It's time to Nourish.
I must consider.
Ironically enough, I've seen a lot of Druids that like Nourish not on curve. and then they just like
Still good.
it's still good because Crystal Merchant draws them the card. They play it for 1 floating mana. Also, there's a lot of you out there that just rip Nourish on 6 when I play a Secret on 5, and you have no respect for Counterspell. It's a good play, and it upsets me. I'm really... How could they not just consider it? I play Secret on 5, and I play it really fast because they finish their quest, and they just immediately rip Nourish on 6. I just don't understand.
Was it Yulu again, Dan?
Yulu was playing the Shaman that had the Plague of Murlocs, hero power,
And then he tries,
Hungry Crab.
And then he tries to counter to you the very next game.
Druid is a counter to Quest Mage, but to be fair, every deck's a counter to Quest Mage.
Very interesting play from ETC, going for Neferset Ritualist.
I was not expecting this.
If he's trying to bait out the Wrath, then he doesn't kill the Ultra Lodi, which means that his Injured Blade Master is still vulnerable.
But he could Injured Blade Master Divine Spirit. That would be pretty weak.
Now he can injure Tol'vir plus heal.
I guess Injured Tol'vir is the same as the Injured Blade Master here, right? It goes up to 5 health either way.
Yep. And Wardrobe Lodi being gone actually gives ETC a little bit of wiggle room.
Ooh! What do you think about this play, TJ?
It doesn't protect it from swipe, which is the next natural removal that Purple would have in his hand.
Yeah, Crystal Merchant.
I don't know how I feel about this, Dan.
Well, I thought it was a cool, cute play.
It also doesn't protect it from Oasis Surger.
Yeah, Oasis Surger can just be played on curve and win. Like, Druid doesn't have to finish the quest. This is something that I think a lot of Druid players, and I really am super happy with the way Purple's playing this game so far. And you can see that he's a little bit more focused than usual. You can often tell what kind of mode Purple's in, if he's in a playful mood or he's in a, taking care of business mood. And right now, he's definitely in the latter. A lot of Druid players are a little bit too keen on finishing the quest when a lot of times it's a different game altogether. You're not going to benefit off the quest if you're dead. I think Purple capitalized on that really well. And also an aggressive inner fire usage followed by 2 turns of awkward mana expenditure might indicate to Purple that ETC is holding another inner fire and maybe a Divine Spirit to capitalize. So to shut down that Injured Tol'vir was a high priority, and I like that read a lot. He's not 100% on the money, but he's in the right ballpark, and that's landed him a huge tempo advantage. Really well done by Purple, as his board right now has a 1/1 Wardrobe Lodi and a 5/3 Oasis Surger, which should contest everything. Even if Met's played on curve, he's got it. It's really smart, dude. Tempo 6/6. You don't need the heal.
Know.
You don't. The quest is supposed to be used as a dual purpose. You don't need the heal. I guess you could heal the 5/3 to a 5/5. That would be great.
I think
like
I'd rather
it.
have a 6/6.
I like it, TJ. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, he still clears off the board with this play. And I think you do need to complete the quest eventually, right?
It's true. It's just I know the hands. That's why.
Yeah.
I know ETC has nothing. Oh, he really has. Now he's just out of gas.
If he had held on to the Injured Blade Master, he could have Injured Blade Master shuffled to the Divine Spirit. But
I mean, you can't really.
You can't expect that. Tempo 6/6.
And quest completion.
Honestly, that just gonna lock it up.
Well, Bwansamdi still has an opportunity to do something.
Yeah, Bwansamdi just gets answered by Starfall itself, though. That's with the quest complete now, it's smooth sailing for Purple.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
ETC has conceded. Purple taking the victory, improves to a 6-3 record. And ETC struggles continue in Grandmasters Season 2. 2 quick ones for Purple.
Yeah, and hard to kind of tell in that last game, like what ETC could have done better. Obviously he could have protected his Northshire Cleric on 1. Hard thing to read.
I think the Neferset Ritualist on 3 was
On
also
3.
a little ambitious.
He just played it kind of slow, and in that matchup, you're super incentivized to just play it as fast and aggressively as possible,
Right.
and try and get out of range whatever they do, because Druid has to have this exact set of cards to be able to contest
Right.
these high health minions on board.
They have a
very early
shrunken
on.
hand already too, because they're keeping the quest.
They're keeping the quest.
So they have that fewer opportunities in order to draw the right cards to remove your 1/5, your 4/3s, etc.
And there's no punish for doing it, right? There's no, you don't need many resources. You just need one big thing.
Yeah.
Most of the time, unless War Druid loaded, but that's one off. So and game 1, a couple of slip ups. So kind of another rough day, but at the end of the day, Purple played that pretty exceptionally, just prioritizing removing minions, not prioritizing quests. That's how you play the matchup, and he played it to a T.
All right, let's go ahead and check in with Purple for a few words on his victory. Purple, you there?
Yeah, what's up? That's
Nicely done. Really good game number 2. Let's talk a little bit about that. So, in your mind, what's the kind of resource, like what's the balance between utilizing your resources and trying to finish the quest versus trying to remove the threats? I feel like a lot of players don't really do that enough when they approach a matchup like this.
so every single specific hand is a bit different, and not even just your hand, it's what they do as well, right? So ideally, I want to finish my quest on 5, high roll that innervate off the top, have those 2 surgers on 5, and go from there. But once you don't have the innervate, you're already only finishing on 6. So if you have stuff that impacts the board, by all means, play your stuff. He has, it's a bad matchup. You got to take a risk. I was hoping his hand was several minions and then, a couple Divine Spirits, and he runs out of stuff eventually, kind of thing. And I set up a way to beat Psychopomp on 4 with the Lodion freeze. So and we set up to beat a Met. So 4-2 rush, man, all day, every day.
It looked really good. The inner fire play, which shrunk your Lodi, did you make, so was that the moment when you're like, oh, he's just holding a bunch of stuff? Or was that your game plan from the beginning, which is hoping that he was having double Divine Spirit and whatnot? Because you read his hand perfectly.
Well, yeah, inner fired, so that probably means he really wants to prioritize keeping his guy on the board. So what does that mean? It means all the spells and not the minions. So by inner firing, it's well, I know what you got.
Yep, really nicely explained. Now, I guess going into it, you're at 6-3. Your next opponent is Gallon. This is many to be considered, at least by 2 people on this planet, to be the featured match of the week. Any thoughts that you want to follow up the comments that you said last week going up against Gallon?
Listen, I'm 6-3, but I lost to Gallon, and losing to Gallon's losing 3. It's not just losing to 1; it's losing 3. There's a bit of pride. It just feels bad. Losing to the guy who hits for 1 with a super collider against Mage. Come on, I don't want to lose to that guy. It's terrible.
It's great. So all the Gallon good stuff, that was all just for show, right? Deep down inside, there's this bitter rivalry between the 2 of you.
Listen, Gallon's a good human being, and I helped him a lot through his journey in Hearthstone, and he deserved that. But come on, he's not better than me.
Great. Love it. Looking forward to your match tomorrow afternoon against Gallon. It's going to be a fun one. Thanks, Purple. Congrats on the victory.
Enjoy the rest of the cast, boys.